Hello, and welcome to Dreamy Tales, a sanctuary where everyone can experience calm and a touch of magic before gently drifting into sleep. Tonight, we invite you on another enchanting journey, a story that helps soothe the mind and nurture a sense of peace. Before we begin, let's take a moment to prepare our bodies and minds for a comforting, restorative rest. Make yourself cozy, and with each slow inhale and long exhale, let the cares of the day gradually slip away. It's not always easy to step back from the day's demands, especially as night falls. Yet, remember, the less we worry about how quickly we'll fall asleep, the simpler it is for our minds to release any remaining tension. Allow the gentle flow of your breathing to wash away lingering concerns, and let the story ahead guide you into a state of deep relaxation. Now, settle in, and let the dreamy atmosphere softly wrap around you. Enjoy this story, and may you drift into a peaceful, restful slumber here on Dreamy Tales.
An evening descended upon Aurel, draped in the tranquil warmth of summer, settling a languid spirit over the streets of the enchanting southern town. Everywhere, blossoms unfurled amidst trees reaching skyward, their vibrancy echoed by the picturesque dwellings lining each lane. These homes, sun-drenched and painted in cheerful hues, seemed locked in a gentle rivalry with nature, each vying to outshine the other in sheer brilliance. One particular house, nestled within a square at the city's core, basked in the opulent late sunlight. Its walls glowed the color of fresh butter, punctuated by shutters of startling viridian green. Blooming oleanders and acacias partly veiled the facade, their pink and white jewels scattered amongst the oleander branches, the acacias offering delicate yellow blooms against oval green leaves, perfect splashes of color accentuating the cozy, welcoming abode. A scattering of figures ambled along the street, their movements unhurried, embodying the slower cadence of life here. Contentment seemed etched onto their faces, patience ingrained in their bearing, as if they had mastered the profound art of simply being. On the first floor of the butter-yellow house, behind the open green shutters of a window, stood a tall, slender man. His beard was a shock of bright red, his hair a kindred flame. Through the glass, his blue-green eyes surveyed the square, absorbing the scene with quiet satisfaction. Elias was his name. Having journeyed from the Netherlands, and after a stint in Paris, he had found his way to Aurel some time ago. The town had captivated him instantly, its allure deepening with every passing day. He often confessed to his sister how the South, with its pervasive warmth and sun, invigorated him, clearing the fog from his mind and igniting inspiration at every turn. Elias was a painter. Though recognition still eluded him, his existence was defined by an unwavering ardor for art. Painting consumed his thoughts. A profound fulfillment washed over him whenever he sat before his easel, hands stained with charcoal and pigment, transmuting the world's beauty onto canvas. His simple bedchamber, the blossoming orchards he so adored, anything could spring to life under his brush. These past months had been particularly gratifying. Aurel's orchards, now at their zenith of bloom, offered endless subjects. He painted with fervent, unbridled joy. Tonight, however, Elias sought repose. Having just completed a study of peach trees, he yearned for a moment to quiet his thoughts. He'd lately become quite taken with these trees, finding their small pink-white petals exquisitely delicate, almost exotic. Their blossoms radiated light, brightening their surroundings. Elias cherished the vibrant pigments that allowed him to capture southern France. The blushing pink of peach blossoms, the woody umber and verdant greens of branches and leaves. Then there were the golds and coppers for the wheat fields, perhaps mixed with crimson and ochre, touched with bronze, creating scenes so richly textured they seemed to pulse with life, threatening to leap from the canvas. Mulling over the town's inherent beauty, Elias turned from the window, preparing to venture out. A walk appealed, first to his favored spot by the river, then perhaps through the wheat fields, wandering beneath the nascent starlit sky. This was his preferred mode of relaxation, exploring this captivating city, allowing its sights and sounds to replenish his creative wellspring. He moved about the compact room, gathering necessities, a handkerchief, a few coins, his blue coat. His bedroom was Spartan, a bed framed in turmeric yellow, 2 chairs, a small table, whitewashed walls met red-tiled floors. He desired simplicity in furnishings, letting art fill the space. Already, numerous canvases adorned the walls, landscapes ablaze with color, lending vibrancy to the small, snug haven. He lifted his yellow straw hat from its peg, settling it atop his head, a stark, sunny contrast to his russet hair and beard. He looked every inch the impassioned artist. Lacing his most comfortable brown shoes, Elias exited the room, closing the door softly. He passed the guest bedroom, earmarked for future decoration with more paintings, and descended the stairs. Opening the front door, he stepped onto the gray cobblestones, where tufts of soft grass pushed up between the stones in places. Elias began to meander towards the Argent River, which coiled through the town. He loved to sit by the water. By day, he'd scrutinize the riverbank flora, contemplating how best to render their myriad greens, how shifting light altered their appearance. At night, his gaze turned upward. He watched the stars mirrored in the river, losing himself in the rippling, pale yellow curves they traced upon its dark surface. Elias strolled leisurely, more absorbed in observing his milieu than reaching any particular destination. He walked thoughtfully, sifting through nascent ideas for his next painting. Creative energy coursed through him as he registered the minutiae of his surroundings. Everything was viewed with hopeful interest, a potential subject. To Elias, the entire world belonged on canvas. Every detail held beauty, deserving immortalization through art. Around him, people headed home or towards the very cafe he frequented. Having grown up in a similar rural setting, he felt an affinity with the farmers he now encountered, loving to capture their expressive, sun-weathered faces. It fostered a connection to humanity itself. Before Aurel, he had often yearned for the simplicity of small-town existence, a stark contrast to Parisian glamour, which ultimately drew him here. The grand city, though an artist's paradise, hadn't quite suited Elias. He needed spaces for quiet contemplation, enveloped by nature. Lost in thought, he noticed a group of townsfolk passing, women in voluminous cotton skirts of diverse colors, white blouses and neck scarves, men in similarly hued trousers and shirts. Their faces, bronzed by the sun, looked weary yet cheerful, alight with laughter from a shared story. Elias smiled inwardly. Already his mind was painting them, robes in his favored ultramarine blue, deep ruby red, emerald green, the sun a brilliant chrome yellow, fields rendered in oranges and reds. People possessed an ineffable quality, he mused, that demanded capture in paint. Their movements, their sounds, coalescing into a wondrous, unending melody he felt compelled to transcribe. The murmur of the river drew him from his reverie. He had arrived at his cherished spot. Crystal clear blue water shimmered, illuminated by the orange gold rays of the declining sun. He sighed. A perfect time to be here. He walked slightly further to his usual perch by the Argent near the Pont Le Vent de Valois. He favored sitting on the grass facing the drawbridge. Sometimes he'd make preliminary sketches, studies to grasp the composition before committing to paint. He preferred painting en plein air, directly from the scene, but occasionally a preparatory study felt necessary. Today, however, was for relaxation. No sketching, no painting for the next few hours. Finding his familiar patch of cushiony grass, he sat, placing his straw hat beside him. He drew his knees to his chest, wrapping his arms around them. A faint smile touched his lips. Peace settled upon him here, beside the Argent. The river's gentle current eased the tension from his shoulders, clearing his mind. For a while, thought ceased altogether. He simply gazed at the water, absorbing the landscape, the thick bushes seeming to lean in, thirsting for the cool, clear flow, the occasional chirp of birds settling for the evening. The river itself was stained orange by the sunset. On either bank, red brick retaining walls streaked with white supported the dark brown structure of the bridge, its lifting chains a deep, rusty maroon. Elias admired the bridge. So simple, he reflected, yet in perfect concord with its environment, standing sentinel above the sun-dappled Argent. The colors harmonized beautifully. This river had flowed long before his arrival, and would continue long after his departure. Its eternal movement mesmerized him, mirroring the permanence he craved for his art. He pondered how, someday, someone might view his painting of this scene, and this very river would still be flowing, unchanged. He sat, contemplating this for some time. The Argent held Elias utterly spellbound. His breathing seemed to synchronize, with the river's flow, his chest rising and falling rhythmically, like the water burbling over scattered rocks. The grass felt soft beneath him. A light breeze ruffled his red hair. Closing his eyes momentarily, he savored the coolness on his eyelids and forehead. He mentally reproduced the scene, but infused with his own vision. He imagined his brush, its handle a medley of dried colors from years of use, poised above a blank canvas. He'd begin with the bridge, careful, precise lines delineating its structure, nut-brown columns formed in his mind, followed by burnt sienna strokes for the thin chain links. Brick by brick, red and white, he imagined building the wall, his mental strokes gradually loosening, becoming freer. He favored a somewhat bold style, thin strokes laid closely together, creating an image imbued with near palpable movement. Next, the river. He visualized it taking shape, strokes of cobalt blue blended with white, laid one after another. The imagined paint moved as the river did, gliding across the canvas like water over stone. Then the plants, the bushes, jade, emerald, moss green, applied with circular strokes here, rapid straight dashes there. Perhaps mixing brown with the green, adding a scattering of tall ochre reeds. Elias smiled. The mere act of painting in his mind filled him with profound joy. After several more moments, he opened his eyes. Darkness had deepened. The sun had slipped below the horizon. While he could linger, watching evening dissolve into night, the thought of a warm drink, perhaps a bite to eat, beckoned. He decided on his favorite cafe. He enjoyed their coffee, and its location, right on the street, allowed him either to mingle or maintain his solitude. Casting one last look around, Elias stood, replaced his hat, and set off towards the town center, mentally noting to return soon. The cafe occupied a narrow lane. Patrons had several seating choices, all agreeable to Elias. The billiard room buzzed with convivial noise. From the terrace, he loved gazing at the night stars. Just outside, spilling onto the lane, small tables and chairs offered a vantage point for observing passers-by. Tonight, Elias selected an outdoor table and ordered coffee. While waiting, he studied the cobblestones. Similar to those near his house, he noted. The cafe itself was yellow. Under the gaslight's glow, it seemed almost animate, possessing movement and depth. The same lamps cast reflections on the cobblestones, transforming their gray into a rich violet. Houses flanked the street, most fronted by a line of trees. From his seat, Elias commanded a perfect view of both the street scene and the night sky above. Stars were emerging, twinkling into existence one by one. Sipping his warm coffee, he contemplated how different this scene would appear on canvas compared to the river vista. This was ordinary life, just a cafe and a street lined with houses. Yet, in Elias's thoughts, yellow, purple, gray, brown, and blue were already swirling, coalescing, fixing this view in place. The lamp's yellow light reflected in his blue-green eyes. To an observer, he might have seemed entranced, but within his mind, A blank canvas was undergoing a wondrous transformation. The stars above shimmered with lemony hues. Utterly magical, he felt. Finishing his coffee, Elias left the cafe, heading towards the wheat fields near his home. An old mill stood just beyond, a structure he adored. He favored visiting the field at night. The view of the sky was unobstructed, clear of tall trees. There was ample space to lie back and stargaze for as long as he wished. He loved the stark contrast between the field's colors and the night sky, one warm, golden, delicate, replete with yellows and browns, the other dark, mysterious, cloaked in cool blues and blacks. As he walked, he passed a field of irises. Row upon row of exquisite blue flowers patterned the landscape. He'd recently painted them, pleased with the outcome. They seemed to sway on the canvas just as they did now in the evening breeze. He found them charmingly wild, painting them with broad, assured strokes. Further on stood a cluster of almond trees, currently blossoming, subjects he'd tackled several times. Their thick, charcoal-hued bark, strong and rough, offered a striking counterpoint to the delicate pink and white blossoms crowning the branches, reminiscent of cherry blossoms. Painting them, he'd felt a pang of longing for Japan, wishing he could study its abundant cherry trees firsthand. For these pieces, he'd taken unusual care with each flower, each petal, striving to respect the tree's inherent uniqueness, their exquisite individuality, a quality he felt, with pride, shone through in his art. Shortly past the almond trees, he reached the wheat field. He paused, watching the airy stalks sway, so fine they barely caught the moonlight, lending them an ethereal luminescence. The grassy verge looked inviting. Selecting a spot, he lay down in the cool grass, removing his hat and resting it on his chest. In the distance, the old mill creaked intermittently in the breeze. Crickets chirped nearby. These were the sights and sounds he had sought in leaving Paris, and on nights like this, gratitude washed over him. Elias closed his eyes, letting the sounds envelop him. The rustling wheat mimicked the distant rush of a river. He loved painting what he saw, but in moments like these, he wished he could capture the experience whole. Sounds, sensations, everything. He opened his eyes, gazing upward. A crescent moon hung amidst countless glittering stars. One reason he cherished this spot was the unobstructed celestial panorama. Just him, the field, the mill, and the vast nocturnal expanse. Elias often puzzled over why people depicted starry skies as mere white dots on black. Even now, looking up, he perceived magnificent colors everywhere. To his eyes, the sky wasn't black, but a profound, deep blue, darker than his ultramarine pigment, yet radiant like the lapis lazuli stone it derived from. An occasional cloud drifted past, animating the heavens, creating waves of white and gray against the darker backdrop. It seemed as if a giant hand wielded a brush across the vast canvas above, much like his own. And the stars, they hypnotized him. Not white as commonly rendered, but golden, pink, emerald, scarlet. Gemstones scattered across dark blue velvet. While the stars felt magical, mysterious, the moon offered familiar comfort, glowing a warm, pale yellow, like an old friend. He frequently contemplated painting the night sky, moved by the complex emotions it evoked, but always found himself lost in the thought, postponing it. One day, he promised himself he would paint it, perhaps with cypress trees looming dark against the argent. Or maybe above these very wheat fields, just as it appeared now. Lying in bed at night, he often imagined the act, the colors he would employ, the techniques to reproduce its otherworldly presence exactly as his eyes perceived it. Elias blinked, his mind drifting. His eyes mirrored the starry expanse above, light reflected within them, just as the setting sun had shimmered on the argent's surface. With images of swirling blue clouds, the breeze propelling them across the sky, he felt drowsiness steal over him. He dreamed of immense, radiant yellow stars, the eternal, unchanging river, delicate pink blossoms fluttering on the wind. He dreamed in swirling bands of cobalt and ultramarine mingled with white and orange, punctuated by long, dark green shapes. In his slumber, Elias created the painting of the wild, star-drenched night that watched over him. Agra breathes cool and hushed in the stillness of 1640's dawn. The crown of the palace, the Taj Mahal, nears its magnificent completion, a testament whispered in marble, conceived by the Mughal sovereign, Emperor Khurram, for his cherished wife, Arjumand Banu, whose earthly form found its rest within these nascent walls some years prior. Birthed as a shared sepulchre, destiny would shape it into an unparalleled emblem of devotion, its sublime form and the sentiment behind its creation echoing across continents and centuries. You linger at its threshold now, the crisp air a silken balm against the skin. Poised on the Yamuna's southern flank, the structure gleams, an apparition of incandescent white. Though the river itself remains unseen from this vantage, its murmuring passage drifts on the breeze, a low, constant sigh punctuated by the tentative trills of awakening birds. A fragile morning symphony unfolds, stirring a quiet gratitude for this solitary communion. From somewhere unseen, a voice lifts in morning prayer, its resonant notes carried like threads of smoke upon the wind, weaving through the avian chorus and the river's gentle rush. Closing your eyes, you surrender to the sound, profoundly calming, yet deeply stirring. Beyond these gates, the city begins to stir. Cultivators stride towards their fields. Pastoralists guide their flocks. And from unseen courtyards, roosters issue their sharp, clear pronouncements, each sound distinct in the pristine air. One day, this horizon will bristle with structures, but for now, only the Taj Mahal and a scattering of vibrant domes punctuate the vastness. Ample space allows the sky its full canvas, streaked now with the nascent sun's palette of ochre and flame, a celestial counterpoint to the jewel-toned cupolas below. Agra, once the vibrant heart of Khurram's dominion, still wears its imperial legacy well, though the seat of power shifted to Delhi 2 years past. Its splendor persists, a testament to the emperor's passion for artistry and form. While the Taj may be the zenith of his patronage, Numerous handsome edifices of ruddy brick also grace the landscape. Emperor Khurram, fourth luminary of the Mughal line, a dynasty rooted primarily in the Indus Basin, its reach extending across vast swathes of India, Afghanistan, and lands now known as Pakistan, presided over an era renowned for its embrace of the arts. The Mughals infused South Asia with Persian sensibilities, cultivating a rich cultural synthesis destined for enduring influence. Here, this legacy is etched in stone. Slender minarets, companions to mosques, pierce the sky. Intricate carvings adorn surfaces with meticulous grace. Rounded domes swell with serene geometry. While this monument before you luxuriates in marble, many surrounding structures shimmer with mosaics of modest tile, marble being a treasure beyond common reach. You glimpsed these humbler tiled facades on your passage through the awakening city, a journey culminating here, at the gates of this unparalleled creation. Soon you will trail the master builder himself, Ustad Isa Shirazi, as he surveys the final flourishes bestowed upon this glorious vision. You traverse the expansive forecourt where Shirazi, the architect, conducts his appraisal. A tall figure, bearded and turbaned, his expression is one of calm contemplation. He moves with measured steps, his gaze absorbing every detail. Within years, he envisions this expanse transformed. A verdant paradise garden, bisected by a channel of the clearest, bluest water, the reflecting pool, its edges softened by parallel ranks of trees, walls of living green. Not far off, Shirazi paces the very ground destined for this pool, scrutinizing corners, ensuring readiness for the work ahead. You follow, matching his deliberate pace while allowing your own senses to linger on the surroundings. The garden's intended design draws inspiration from the Islamic conception of paradise, quartered by 4 symbolic rivers flowing from a central fount. Though the plantings are yet to come, you sense an inherent divinity already permeating the space. The Taj Mahal commands attention even from afar, yet standing within its precinct reveals a deliberate orchestration. Every element converges, directing the eye, capturing the soul, towards the central edifice. It is a sight that seizes the breath and holds it captive. The white marble, ignited by the dawn's first rays, possesses a hypnotic luminescence. Polished to a near liquid sheen, the stone appears impossibly pristine, freshly quarried, though sourced from a town in Rajasthan, famed for yielding the world's finest marble. Nothing less would suffice for the emperor's beloved Arjumand Banu. Yet, the monument is not solely marble. Sandstone forms its hidden strength, a sturdy foundation veiled by marble plates, achieving both aesthetic perfection and structural integrity. At the complex's heart rises the immense plinth supporting the iconic central dome, often likened to an onion bulb in its graceful swell. The structure's apex soars over 70 meters, a commanding silhouette against the sky. 4 elegant minarets stand sentinel, detached yet intrinsically linked to the main tomb. Viewed from the gardens, they seem to frame the central dome, lending depth and accentuating its grandeur. Their own smaller, rounded caps echo the primary cupola, the entire ensemble a powerful echo of traditional Persian architectural language. The central dome curves with flawless, gleaming smoothness, defying the belief that such perfection could be coaxed from intractable stone. Beneath your feet, the nascent garden yields soft turf, cushioning your slow approach towards the monument. Its beauty feels too vast to absorb in a single glance. The dome's sheer scale is dazzling, compelling you to imprint its image onto memory's deepest folds. Steps ascend one side of the main structure. A few artisans linger there, sipping morning chai, perhaps sharing a simple meal before the day's meticulous labor begins. The tending of carvings, engravings, the delicate art of calligraphy within. It is these intricate adornments you have come seeking, hoping to grasp the immense devotion poured into this extraordinary sanctuary. Ustad Isa Shirazi pauses at the principal gateway, examining details near the entrance, a portal unlike any you have witnessed, as majestic as the tomb it heralds. A colossal arch crowns it, its spandrels alive with elaborate floral tracery. Arabic script flows across panels, though here the work appears incomplete. Some of the artisans you saw racing must be the masters of this craft, you surmise, awed by their skill. Leaning closer, you trace the fine black lettering inlaid into the stone, admiring the elegant flourishes and sweeping curves. This great gate, the Pishtak, leading towards the mausoleum proper, is renowned for its primary inscription, a verse offering solace. O soul, thou art at rest. Return to the Lord at peace with him, and he at peace with you. Completed decades ago, in 1609, it has long graced this entrance. Numerous passages from the Quran embellish the monument, befitting its solemn purpose as a final, hallowed resting place. Floral motifs, geometric abstractions, and flowing arabesques dominate the decorative scheme. In places, the marble yields to inlays of black jasper, a dark, lustrous quartz lending sharp contrast. Inscriptions positioned higher on the walls are rendered in larger script, ingeniously scaled, so they remain legible to observers on the ground. Every minute element, you realize, is born of deliberate intent, of meticulous foresight. You shadow Shirazi as he proceeds towards the central chamber of the mausoleum. Approaching, you discern the subtle sounds from within, the soft, rhythmic tapping of artisans' chisels and hammers against the delicate walls, sounds that resonate and multiply within the cavernous, empty space. Occasionally, a worker pauses, the tapping fades, replaced by the soft hiss of breath blowing away stone dust, a moment of scrutiny. Then, satisfied, the gentle percussion resumes, filling the air once more. You find yourself adopting the slow cadence of their work, moving leisurely through the chamber, attempting to fathom the sheer human effort crystallized here. The dome, so majestic from without, forms the soaring ceiling of this inner sanctum. Here, too, the marble gleams, catching the sunlight that filters through intricately patterned window screens. The vast space swims in a golden haze, illuminated by shafts of light, wherein minuscule dust motes dance like powdered sugar shimmering like fey particles when struck at just the right angle. These windows, jolly screens, are marvels in themselves, as intricate as any carving. Hewn from massive stone blocks, their latticed appearance belies their origin, seeming impossibly fine, delicate webs of interlacing stone tendrils. The filtered sunlight bathes the marble walls, suffusing the room with an ethereal glow. Few have trod these floors. The building retains the pristine aura, the special allure of a place scarcely visited. Ladders and platforms still stand here and there, remnants of the immense construction effort. Though most equipment has been cleared, a lone worker sweeps the polished floor with a broom fashioned from bamboo, its rhythmic swish a soft counterpoint against the marble. Your attention returns to the architect. Shirazi now inspects a section of wall flanking the passage to the inner sanctum. Curiosity piqued, you draw nearer. You perceive a difference here. Shallow alcoves, gently curved and pointed at the apex, are recessed into the stone on either side of the doorway. You watch as the architect traces the edge of one alcove with a careful index finger, assessing the smoothness of the carving, determining if further sanding or refinement is needed. His profound sense of duty, his unwavering commitment to the Taj Mahal's perfection is palpable, mesmerizing. His meticulous pursuit of flawlessness continues unabated. Satisfied with the alcoves, he turns his gaze to the ornamentation surrounding them. A vibrant network of polychrome florals unfolds across the wall, interconnected by sinuous vines and creepers. Predominantly blue and yellow vines intertwine with details of orange and green, accented by touches of brown on petals. The patterns weave with an elegance that seems a visual echo of lyrical Arabic verse. Moving closer still, you examine the minute details of these colorful designs, and a startling realization dawns. These are not paintings. The wall before you is a masterful example of pietra dura. In this demanding technique, precisely cut pieces of colored stone are inlaid into a base stone, creating intricate images that mimic painting from a distance. Close inspection reveals the seams where each sliver of colored stone meets the marble matrix. Such patience, such time, must have been lavished here, you muse. You picture a dedicated artisan, brow furrowed in concentration, setting each tiny stone just so, then stepping back to gauge the effect. Almost involuntarily, you step back yourself, seeking the artisan's perspective. The illusion is striking. The botanical forms appear rendered by the finest brush. Being new, the colors possess a startling vibrancy, a jewel-like intensity. In a way, they foreshadow the living plants destined to flourish in the gardens outside. Across the passage, Shirazi observes another craftsman at work. An older man, perhaps in his 60s, meticulously coaxes patterns from the wall. With deft taps of a tiny hammer on a sharp chisel, he conjures forms suggesting flowers and leaves. From the rough, stony matrix, something delicate and magical emerges. The design, perhaps halfway realized, hints at a lily or daffodil taking shape. The architect watches intently as the slow, deliberate chipping refines the magnificent stone. The embossed petals and leaves slowly gain dimension. You contemplate the inherent contrast, the soft fragility of the plant, rendered in hard, unyielding stone. Beauty, it seems, resides latent in everything, awaiting only the artist's patient hand to reveal it, stroke by gradual stroke. When Shirazi seems content with the carver's progress, he moves towards the innermost chamber, the resting place of the queen, Arjumand Banu, interred here only a few years past. This is a sacred, hushed space. Entering, you immediately sense the profound serenity, the palpable calm that saturates the air. The cenotaph rests at the heart of the circular room, encircled by an octagonal marble screen, displaying the same intricate jolly work seen in the windows, though denser here, the gaps smaller. Approaching, you see that these apparent gaps are formed by exquisitely interlinked floral carvings, stalks and tiny leaves spaced with perfect symmetry. A breathtaking marvel of artistry, you think? The sheer intricacy speaks volumes of the bond between the emperor and his wife, compelling him to erect such a monument in her memory. The cenotaph itself embodies grace and beauty. Exquisite Arabic calligraphy adorns its surface. The 99 names of God as revealed in the Quran. Though the precise meaning of each inscription escapes you, the black script holds you captive, its looping, slanting elegance mesmerizing. Sunlight filters into this chamber too, but here it glows a deeper, warmer orange than in the previous room. Perhaps it's the angle of entry, or simply the advance of the morning. This richer light illuminates the complex geometric patterns inlaid upon the floor. Before long, you notice Shirazi preparing to depart. You follow him through a corridor flanked on one side by massive jolly windows. Your footsteps echo softly against the stone walls as you walk. Shirazi is heading towards the rear of the Taj Mahal, likely to inspect the flanking structures, a mosque and a guest house still under construction. You debate following, curious to see these complementary buildings take shape. As you ponder, you emerge onto the open platform at the rear of the main mausoleum. Here, behind the central tomb, a stunning vista of the Yamuna River unfolds. You pause, absorbing the view, while Ustad Isa Shirazi continues onward. There is little for him to inspect here. This section is complete. But you wish to linger. The other buildings can wait. Standing at the platform's edge, you draw a long, deep breath. The day has advanced slightly, yet the air retains its cool freshness. The sun, still climbing, offers a gentle, comforting warmth that settles deep within, bringing a sense of quiet contentment. You reach out, touching the marble balustrade. Its surface is astonishingly smooth, cool against your fingertips. Stroking the polished stone, you contemplate the genesis of this place, thinking of the countless individuals who poured their time, their skill, their very essence into realizing Khurram's magnificent dream. Your gaze drifts over the Yamuna, thoughts meandering like the river itself. The Taj Mahal's beauty is inherent, self-contained, yet the presence of the river, its sight, its sound, adds an irreplaceable dimension to the experience. The water flows clear and wide. Near the bank, a pair of horses dip their heads to drink before moving on. It feels entirely possible to spend hours right here, simply gazing at the water, allowing your mind to revisit the wonders witnessed within these walls. Later, there will be more to see, more to do, but for this moment, you are utterly content. This day, you know with certainty, will remain etched in your memory, indelible. It feels as though the Taj Mahal has become a part of you. Tonight, dreams will surely be filled with vibrant Pietra Dura vines and luminous white marble, underscored by the clear, fresh murmur of the river. You feel the love that radiates from every carving, every carefully placed stone, every soaring line. Like countless souls before and countless yet to come, you have been utterly captivated by the grandeur of the Taj Mahal. You will carry the thought of this place for days, filled with gratitude for inhabiting a world capable of such breathtaking beauty.